Morning everyone and welcome to Mount Rainier National Park. This has been a minute since I was last here. I think the last time I was in this park was actually in November, so it's been a while. But I'm up at sunrise. It's a Saturday, it's going to be busy. It's August, so it's like peak day, but I didn't fancy heading up to Paradise today. So I'm going to take my mum to Mount Rainier for the first time, and we are hiking on the Burrows Trail around the Sunrise Rim. So hopefully we can get some good views of the glacier, hopefully some mountain goats and some wildflowers. So come with us and enjoy the hike. So there's these trail signs with some information about the meadows, and the car park you can see is already so packed. There's a lot of people heading up on the rim trail, so we're going to go down to Shadow Lake first, and hopefully the sun will be up soon and we'll be able to see the mountain. So this is the service road. You don't want to take this, but you can see these brown signs just over here. So the Sunrise Rim Trail continues down here, and our first point of call today is going to be Shadow Lake. It's just down here. So the first trail junction we have come to here, so you can see the Silver Forest Trail heads down this way. But we are going to head this way, and I think we've got a nice deer in the forest. In fact, it's an elk. There's an elk in the forest, just grazing just down here. She's just spotted us. There she is. I don't know if you can pick her up on this, but I'll try and take a photo. So just along the trail, I thought it was an elk cow, but I think actually it was just a white-tailed deer. But still really cool to see some wildlife first thing in the morning up here. The wildflowers are still out, so there's lots of food for animals. So it's a really good time of year to head up here if you are looking for wildlife. But we still need to see some more animals, so fingers crossed we'll get some more luck. So just down here we have got a little bit of poo. It's quite small. It's not bear poo. Could be deer or maybe a coyote, but I think it's probably deer. But there we are. Probably missed the peak bloom by a couple of weeks, but there's still loads of wildflowers up here, and the sun is just starting to hit the top of the summit now. I should probably point out as well, this is my first time using a new camera, so I've now got the Osmo Pocket 3. Because there were some comments maybe about like the audio and stuff, and this comes with like the gimbal, so and the microphone. So let me know if this is better. But if the filming's a bit off, it's just because it's new and I'm just getting used to it at the moment. I would definitely say that it's worth coming this way and going like counterclockwise. So we'd obviously, oh no, is this clockwise actually? Yeah, this is clockwise, not counterclockwise. But we have not seen anybody on this trail, which is amazing. But it's very cold this morning, and I definitely feel like I underprepared. But the sun is out, the mountain's illuminated, so hopefully it'll start to warm up. But the wildflowers are amazing. We've seen some wildlife, lots of birds. Yeah, it's a gorgeous, where am I? Gorgeous day up here on the mountain. Oh, so once you pass the Sunrise Campground, where I've actually camped before, when I did the Wonderland Trail, you will start to climb out of this valley, and we'll start to get some amazing views of the glacier and of the park itself, and down into the White River, which is going to be really cool. But yeah, I've seen cascade foxes here, a lot of people have spotted bear here, but sadly nothing for me today, shock horror. So this is Shadow Lake. Now, it's really close to the Sunrise Campground where I camped when I did the Wonderland Trail. But in the past, people have spotted bears, wolverines, and deer all along the shores. So let's go and have a little look at the lake. So gorgeous up here. So I'm now coming to the first major viewpoint on the trail of the mountain. It's absolutely gorgeous. So you can see Rainier just there in the distance. If I can ever get this camera to stay in place. And then down in the valley below you can see the glacier leading into the White River. Try again with this bloody camera, but you can see the White River down there and Mount Rainier standing tall above it. Stunning. And it's worth it just for this. Just down there, you might be able to spot. I can get this. Shh. Just down there is a yellow-bellied marmot. Well, it's not a yellow-bellied, it's just a marmot. He's really white and blonde. Very pretty. So coming up from the viewpoint, it's a bit more of a climb, but what makes it perfect is just the views of the mountain and down onto the White River. It's so pretty up here. And now that the sun's up, it's starting to warm up, the haze is starting to lift, and the views are just going to keep getting better from this point. Wow, we've soon left behind the wildflowers in the forest, and now it's up into this high alpine tundra where things grow, but they grow small. They can't grow as tall because they get exposed to the elements. There's a lot of scree and it's quite steep, but you can see the trail meandering across there. Now this is probably the hardest section of this entire trail, but I do really enjoy it because you feel very high up, and then that's the view looking back down at the White River towards the sunrise in the distance. Oh, it's so pretty up here now the sun's out, and there's a lot more people coming back down the trail because a lot of people will have gone up and done like sunrise hikes up at Mount Fremont Lookout, but the view of Rainier in front of me right now is literally fire. And there's lots of reports of goats and stuff up ahead, so I'm really hoping we can get up there soon so that we can see them. But yeah, check this view out. Oh, once again, still learning with this camera, folks, remember? Wow, look at the mountain, it's so big. And I really like this section of the trail because it's just scree and it's so exposed, so you really get to just sort of sense the enormity of it. You can see lots of the green meadows though, and you know, down into places like Berkeley Park and such on the other side. So we're hoping we'll still get to see some wildlife, but this view is spectacular because you really get to see the whole thing with the mountain, the glaciers, and then the White River. It's really hazy today, so there must be some wildfire smoke. I'm not up to date with Washington lately, but I know there's a few in California and in BC, so I don't know if maybe there's some in Oregon and Washington as well that's giving it this haze. But you can see all the rocky outcrops up the side there and the trail up ahead. Absolutely stunning. And it's a nice blue sky now, which always makes Tahoma pop. Now we're completely in the sunshine. We're just about to level off and get to the top of this section of the trail. And there's one last glance down into the valley. You can see all the haze in the distance, like everything is like jagged peaks. You can't quite make out the other volcanoes in the chain. It's just too hazy today. So they're slightly further away than I thought. I was hoping we'd be a bit closer, but you can just see there's a herd of mountain goats just there underneath the mountain. There's going to be lots of babies there as well, but unsurprisingly they would have been a bit more on the trail this morning, but as it's starting to get busier they've sort of moved further away from the crowds to get a bit of privacy. So I'm going to stick my lens extender on now onto my camera and see if I can get some kind of footage to show you, but there is the mountain goats. So we're just coming up now to the So we've just come up to the trail junction where it splits off for the burrows. But you can see all the mountain goats just down here in the valley and the big mountain behind. So you can see that we've already been over the first burrow, so that's the second burrow that's back over this way. Now I have done this trail before, and if you want to watch the video on the channel you can see me going over the two burrows, but I think it's a bit too much for my mum today, so we are gonna stay in this area. So this is looking down towards, so the Mount Fremont Firelock is, if I can again, oh, I'll try and get this gimbal thing. Hang on, what am I doing? Up there, that's the fire lookout, and then down here in the valley, this is Berkeley Park, which is really nice down there, and you can see the Wonderland Trail is going to spur off and go up here, and then you'll have Skyscraper Pass over there. So there's lots of different trails in this area. Frozen Lake is just a ways down there. And there we go. There's lots of critters up here today, enjoying the gorgeous views. There's a big marmot guy over there. So we are just up on the trail here, and there's so many people coming up looking for the goats, which is really nice. Like, this really is the best place. If you want to see mountain goats up on Mount Rainier, this is the place to go. Now, this gimbal thing is really annoying me. Why does it not know my face? But yeah, the mountain is just there. So pretty up here today. Considering we were up here quite early, obviously we weren't expecting massive crowds, but it's really not too bad in terms of the crowd levels today and stuff. But yeah, it's a really nice hike doing this rim around, because you sort of get to see a bit of like the best of everything up here, which is, yeah, really cool. So cool looking down there. And this is the trail on. Now we're going to start to head a little bit downwards now, as we head towards the frozen lake. Now you can make this hike as you want it, so you can start to go down towards Berkeley Park, you can go up to Fremont, there's so many options. So down in this direction now you can see Frozen Lake, which is actually a water reservoir, so it's not as appealing as it sounds. But yeah, there's a lot more people coming up on the trail now doing the Burrows hikes this morning. And then again, looking back into the valley, you can see the Northern Loop Trail and the Wonderland Trail heading down towards Berkeley Park. So we are just descending now towards Frozen Lake still. It's taken a bit of time because there's been lots of like little critters on the trail. So this couple of people were just looking at something, and I was like, hey guys, what are you looking at? And they found a piker. So I got some video and some photos. They're so cute and so cool. I know that they're only small, and obviously if you watch the channel you'll know I'm obsessed with bears and I'm always looking for bears. But it's quite nice when you see other things too, especially things that you don't get to see too often. So yeah, that was really cool. So we're now coming up to this bit of the trail, which is probably going to be a lot busier because pretty much all the trails use this sort of traffic way. So this is definitely going to be a busier section, but hopefully we can still spot some wildlife as well. So here we go. You can just see this is where all the trail junctions sort of merge from this initial trail, which is part of the Sunrise Rim Trail that will take us to the parking lot and the visitor centre and everything. But there's a big marmot just in the field over there, so I'll try and get a shot of him now as well. He's just grazing up there. See him fighting? So as you're coming back from Frozen Lake, if you look in these talus rocks, you very likely will spot pika. I have every single time that I've come to this park. So just look for, they're really small, but if you stop and stay long enough, you'll spot them peeking out, and sometimes you can hear them doing their meep. I didn't get the sound today, but I did get some photos, which is really cool. And then you can just see down into the valley. So we actually hiked up this trail earlier on. We got here before they were actually.
I'll put that on for you, buddy. That's important.
The wildflowers are all out. So pretty. And there's Shadow Lake just off in the distance there. So these are the viewpoints that I just love on this trail. So quite often I've come to these and I've spotted like mountain goats, you can see bear, elk in the meadows grazing, especially later in the year. But yeah, you can see just from today how hazy it is with the wildfire smoke. It's really thick, so you can't see too far into the distance, but sadly it doesn't look like there's anything down in the valley here today. But luckily we did see the mountain goats earlier on the trail. But we're going to just carry on heading down this way now. It's a lot busier with a lot more people passing us, coming towards us. Not many go in the same direction as us now. Oh, it really is gorgeous up here today, and there's so many wildflowers still. I was quite surprised. Obviously, I mentioned when we were on the trail on the Sunrise Rim Trail. Now, this bit is actually the Sourdough Ridge Trail, but it all loops up. But even up here, there's still quite a lot of wildflowers, and you can spot them down off in the valleys and in the ravines, but there's even some along the sides of the trail as well. Now, keep an eye out for marmot up here. I've seen marmot multiple times eating the flowers on the side of the trail, but obviously, as I said, it's quite a busy time of year, so maybe less so much on days like today. But I'm so pleased with the amount of wildlife that we saw up here. You know, the whole goal of today was to see the mountain goats, and we saw a big herd of them, which was great, but also to see the pike and marmot, deer, and chipmunks as well has just been like the icing on the cake. So a bear would really top off the day, but it's not looking likely today. But luckily I'll be in Glacier in just 3.5 weeks, so hopefully I'll get to see loads of them on that trip. And just up ahead begins the car park. So you can see how much more socked in the mountain has gotten today. Like you can still see it, but it is definitely a lot more smoky now, and it's blown in. You can see the view in the distance is so much more restricted. But yeah, there's still some flowers up here, not as much as in the lower meadows that we passed, I guess, because it's more exposed maybe. But there we go. Ultimately, I would definitely say if your priority is going to be to see wildlife, definitely come to Sunrise over Paradise. You're going to have so much more chance of seeing the mountain goats. There was a lot of people today that, you know, had lenses and were asking like, oh, did you see the goats? Did you see the goats? So it definitely is the hot space to come if you want to see wildlife and you want to see mountain goats in particular. But you will see lots of marmot and chipmunk over on the other side of the mountain as well. Well, I hope you have enjoyed the video. Hopefully it's helped with you knowing where to go when you want to find some wildlife and showing what wildlife you can find up here at Sunrise. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be back in Rainier again in a week, and then I have my trip to Glacier Yellowstone and the Tetons at the end of this month, so make sure you're subscribed and you won't miss out. See you soon.